prominent YouTuber, or according to some people, Islamic scholar Yasir Qadhi has been in hot water for suggesting that he could not find the veracity of Hadith, or he said he could believe in it as a matter of belief, but as far as proving its authenticity or veracity at academic level, that's not possible. This is not the first time that somebody has expressed skepticism towards the veracity of Hadith. 4 years ago, Muhammad bin Salman reportedly also said more or less same thing. He did not outrightly reject Hadith, but he did say that they have to be interpreted in material conditions of today, or perhaps every age. And he said that Quran, in a way, he implied that Quran is the supreme law, and as far as Hadith are concerned, they have to be interpreted in the material conditions of any certain society, or at a certain stage. There are also groups who have questioned the veracity of Hadith. For instance, in Pakistan, there was a famous Quranist, or like his followers call him a scholar. Others fiercely debated or fiercely opposed his views, calling him a heretic, describing his views as misguided. His name was Ghulam Ahmad Parvez. He called himself a follower of Quran, and he laid a lot of emphasis on the Quran. So his followers and those who think that Quran is enough argue that if Hadith had been that much important, then God would have promised to protect Hadith as well. But God had only declared that He would protect the Holy Quran. They also express, uh, sort of there is skepticism towards the compilation of hadiths or collection of hadiths, questioning the means of transportation at the time when these hadith were compiled. For instance, it is said that Imam Bukhari collected more than 600,000 hadiths, hardly selecting a few thousand, or 6,000, or 7,000, or maybe more than that. And now the question that if he had collected 700 or 600,000 hadith, meeting different people, because they said that somebody would have heard a certain hadith from Prophet Muhammad, or from one person, and that person would have heard from another person, and that person would have heard from another person. So there is a long chain uh, going all the way to Prophet Muhammad. So meeting those people, traveling from Bukhara, which was the birthplace of Imam Bukhari, or hometown of Imam Bukhari, then traveling to Arabia and different parts of the world, Muslim world, in search of verifying those hadith, would have taken a great amount of time. And given the fact that Imam Bukhari did not live that long, like naturally he did not live one more than 100 years ago or 200 years ago. So though they raise questions about the means of transportation. The same could be said about other compilers of hadith, according to these critics, who collected hundreds and thousands of hadith, selecting only a few thousand. On the other hand, there are people, they said that these hadith were scrutinized, and the muhaddis, or the compiler, verified it, and they worked painstakingly. They made hectic efforts to verify them, and finally they decided that these hadith were correct. So means of transportation is one way. Another way that, according to these critics of hadith, they said that some of these muhaddis or compiler were said to have done istakhara. It means seeking the guidance of God. Now they question that there could be some hadiths which may be in the Bukhari, but may not be there in Muslim, or if they are in Muslim, they may not be in the Tirmizi. So they said, Nauzubillah, did God tell Bukhari that these hadith in istikhara these hadith were correct and Muslim know these hadith were correct, or to another imam that these hadith were correct. So they question that some hadith are missing in one part. So in one of the books, one of the six books of Sahih Satta, so they question that whether, like Nauzubillah, got told different thing to different imam. Then they said it's very interesting that those who were closer to the time of Prophet as compared to, or the time of companion, or the four caliph, for instance, Imam Azam Abu Hanifa. So those who support only Quran, or those who express, sort of a skepticism or doubts towards the hadith, say that Imam Azam Abu Hanifa hardly quoted one or two hadith, or very few hadith, while those who came later on, Imam Azam Abu Hanifa was born in 699, so Imam Malik was born after him. Uh, and Bukhari, Muslim, and other people, they were even born hundreds of years, like more than 100 years, in some cases 150, or maybe 200 years. So Imam Azam Abu Hanifa quoted a very few hadiths, although he was nearer to the time of Prophet or the Caliph, as compared to like Imam Bukhari, Tirmizi, Muslim, and other people. So they said that he did not do that. Then there are some people who said that we have to apply extreme caution, like Dr. Ali, one of the Canadian scholar. Basically, he's from Guyana. So he has gone to the extent of saying that some people did invent, you know, uh, these hadith in the aftermath of the Prophet demise, or they came up with the saying of Prophet. They were obsessed about minute details, so that's why they uh, they quoted these all hadith. For instance, when the airship of Prophet, peace be upon him, arose, so some people came up with the saying supporting Ali, while other came up with the saying supporting Hazrat Abu Bakr. In the same way, those who support only Quran as the authority argue that if you are talking to a Christian, he will bring Bible. So would you take Hadith or would you take Quran? Because Quran is the main book, and it was Quran that was revealed upon Prophet Muhammad. So that is the main book. So would you bring the Holy Quran or would you bring the Hadith? Then there are some, uh, like Dr. Ali, the Canadian Islamic scholars. And of course, some people say even Parvez was of the opinion that the hadith that corroborate what Quran has already said might be acceptable. For instance, if the Holy Quran said the Wamar Sallaka illa Rahmatul Alameen, and in hadith, if somebody reads that according to these followers of Parvez, or those who support uh, uh, Ahle Quran or the Quranist, they said that if the Quran says, for instance, "Wama arsalnaka illa rahmatul alameen," and if we read in Hadith that Muhammad, peace be upon him, pardoned Hinda, extending general amnesty to Abu Sufyan, uh, Umayyah bin Khalf, Sahel bin Amr, Wahshi, and other people. So this corroborates to what Quran has already said. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَاكَ إِلَّا رَحْمَةً لِلْعَالَمِينَ. In the same way, if Quran says La iqra fid deen, and if there are hadiths, Prophet peace be upon him, that talks about tolerance or tolerating other religion or not forcing anyone to convert to Islam. In the same way, if Quran says uh, that you should not revile the followers of other religion, otherwise they might revile your own religion. And if there is any hadith corroborating it, so that should be acceptable. But there are other people like Imam Hanbal who would lay great emphasis on Quran and Hadith, declaring it the primary source of Islamic law. While the Quranist believe that the Quran should be the primary source of the Islamic law. So Yasir Qadhi has more or less taken the position of Ghulam Ahmed Parvez, the Pakistani scholar, or the Ahle Quran, and there are others who are opposing him. They are taking the position, or they are in reality putting forward the argument of Imam Hanbal. So these are the arguments from the two sides that I have just put forward before you. It's up to you. You can carry out your own research and find your own analysis.